Indiana University River as one of the most beautiful campuses in the U.S. For our final group project, we choose to investigate the historical evolution of Showalter Fountain. So, we've seen this fountain in the middle of the plaza with the fishes in it, right? And who is the lady in the middle? And where did the sculptures come from? Why is it here? And who made it?
Well, for starters, located at 7th Street on the IU campus near the auditorium, Showalter Fountain is one of the best-known landmarks on the IU campus. It's the centerpiece of the Fine Arts Square. Surrounding it are the auditorium, the School of Fine Arts, and the Lilly Library.
Showalter Fountain features the sculpture of the birth of Venus, which represents the goddess of love and beauty. The fountain depicts the birth of Venus as she rises from her clamshell. The 2-ton Venus sculpture was originally created by Robert Laurent, professor of sculpture in IU's Department of Fine Arts. Researching Mr. Laurent, we discovered that not only does the IU archives have sketches of the fountain, but so does the Fine Arts Library Museum and the Lilly Library. Robert Laurent was born in 1890 and died at the age of 80 on April 20th, 1970. He came as an immigrant to the United States in 1902 and resided in Maine. He actually came to IU as a visiting sculptor in 1942 and later that year was appointed professor of sculpture where he taught from 1942 until retirement in 1960.
He has several works of art in museums across the United States and into Europe. Some of these museums and institutions are the Chicago Arts Institute, the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, the Whitney Museum of American Art in New York, and the Brooklyn Museum. Well-known sculptures can be found at Rockefeller Center in New York entitled Goose Girl and Spanning the Continent, in Fairmount Park in Philadelphia. Before completion of the Showalter Fountain, Laurent traveled to Rome on a commission to complete his large fountain idea inspired by Botticelli's Birth of Venus. He came into contact with the foundry in Rome and was impressed by the lost wax technique of casting.
After the wax piece was created, he took it to the foundry in Rome where it was encased in a mold and molten metal was poured into it. To many, Laurent's work is solid, as sculpture should be, retaining, however, a certain lightness and humor which save it from being heavy. And it has that most important quality of great works of art of the past. It is in good taste. So, who coughed up the dough for this magnificent piece of art? Grace Montgomery Showalter donated $13,500 sculpture and other portions of the fountain to IU, which was installed in 1958.
Who is Showalter? She was the first woman elected to the IU Foundation's Board of Directors, where she serves for 23 years. Her generous gift to IU also included a maintenance endowment that came in handy for a restoration that totaled approximately $60,000. President Harmon B. Wells was the authoritative figure behind the fountain's constructions.
The ledge surrounding the fountain is a favorite spot for students to sit, read, and wait for their next class. What's around Venus? Fish? Not exactly. Frolicking around Venus are actually dolphins, despite their very fish-like tails. But there is one fish. It stands out from the other marine life in form and appearance. This one was originally cast as a spare to have on hand in case one of the regular fish was ever damaged or lost. The spare fish is in place now as the original fish is no longer with us. No longer with us? Where did the original fish go? Well, it was snatched from the fountain and carried to Assembly Hall during a protest. It mysteriously disappeared following IU's NCAA men's basketball championship in 1987. Its former spot remained empty until a newly created fish was brought in 20 years later.
This is the spot where the missing fish was at one point. Actually, many protests have held here at the fountain, including some during the Vietnam War. On the night of Coach Bobby Knight's firing from the university, the students gathered at the fountain to protest the university's decision. The fish has been removed at least one other time, perhaps more. It's usually snatched when the IU men's basketball team wins a national title. It is said that Bobby Knight possesses the stolen fish from the fountain. However, this story has never been confirmed or denied.
Early in the spring, it is common for someone to put laundry detergent in the fountain and let it bubble up. The bubbles fill the entire fountain and float off all over this place. One tradition of graduation from IU is to go over to the fountain, take off your gown and clothes, and jump into the fountain completely naked.
There's a myth that has been passed down by students over the years. It is said that Venus will be born the day that a virgin graduates from IU. There was, at some point in time, a story making the rounds about somebody dumping boxes and boxes of Alka-Seltzer in the fountain. Another story is someone filling the fountain with Jell-O packets.
Any of these pranks are actually serious acts of vandalism. They cause a reduced density of the conditioned fluid, and this damages the pumps beyond repair. So unless you want to cough up tens of thousands of dollars in repair, we suggest that you not try any of these. Pranksters, you have been warned. There is even a group called I Swam in Showalter Fountain and it was the best time of my life. The description reads, a prerequisite for graduation. Get over the sickness you'll contract afterwards and the fact that you're swimming in bacteria. This group is open to all in the Indiana network. However, there are only 11 members at this time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, it's
Oh, you got your
I'm not
chocolate.
getting
Did I?
Yeah.
There were a couple protests here during Vietnam, weren't there?
Yeah.
I heard that too.
The water isn't running at the fountain today, but I suggest if you're going to swim in it, you might want to know that it's really cold and really gross.